When students at Howard University had had enough of deplorable living conditions, they decided to protest and protest loudly enough to be heard. But the movement required leadership, and one name emerged among those students. And because of her leadership, passion, dedication, and love for her school, Channing Hill was recognized with national recognition with a prestigious NAACP Image Award for her leadership, hard work, and sacrifice. And she joins us now to tell us more about her incredible junior year at Howard University and what's next for the future. Channing, what a pleasure. So nice to see you.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. So tell us a little bit about how this began, because as a Howard University alum, I know a little bit about the history, but folks may not know the ongoing issues surrounding student housing at Howard University. When my wife and I were there in the 80s, it was an issue. When my son was there at the end of 2008, 9, 10, 11, it was an issue, and it remains an issue for students like you.
It does remain an issue. The irony is, while we were protesting, we found a Hilltop article from 2001, the year I was born, 20 years ago, talking about mold in the dorms, the same dorms that we were finding mold in today. So this protesting at Howard and these issues at Howard have, like you said, it's a long history. I began my freshman year in 2019. The summer before I came, that year, the 2019 year, there was talk of a protest. There was a well-known protest in 2018. We had COVID, and as we were preparing to come back to campus at the onset of this academic year, really last spring, the university let us know due to COVID, but not just due to COVID, but in general, there would be limited housing availability, and to prepare to make to look elsewhere for housing, because upperclassmen would have a hard time being housed on campus. They sent that email out in the spring, and many of us spent a summer looking for affordable housing in one of the most expensive cities to live in in the country. Many of us didn't find it. Luckily, I was one of the ones who got placed in the dorm, but my best friend was not. And I've seen firsthand in my class, so the class of 2023, in the class of 2022, the class of every class at Howard, where a student's education, access to their education has been completely derailed by the lack of housing, by the lack of resources that we fight for, that we, beg for, that other schools are just given. And that's to say, coming up into the school year, there were 2 or 3 protests before we took occupation. My friend Erica England, she led the first 3. And it's funny because when we got into Blackburn, I hadn't known her. I just seen the protests around campus. And I said, look, Erica, I would have done that differently. And she said, okay, how would you have done it? And we put our heads together, me, her, Anaya, the other 6 girls. And all of a sudden we was in a building for 31 days.
Yeah. So, talk to me a little bit more about COVID and your mindset, the mindset of your classmates. I mean, you're already, getting robbed of a true college experience because of COVID. And now this comes up and you got to go through this. And I will say what I was so happy about was the amount of support that you got from alumni, and the business community, people supporting you, people driving in water and food for you guys to Blackburn.
Incredible.
I was really, so excited about my Bison brothers and sisters for pitching in and helping you, because we all understand. But at the same time, this is not a normal college experience, doing an almost out-of-body experience with COVID. What was the mindset like on campus?
We were happy to be back on campus. You know, a lot of us had cabin fever at home. When you're 18, 19, you move out of the house, you get to college, you taste freedom, then you get sent back home. Ooh, we were happy to be back out of the house again. And then when we got to campus and it was just tossed in, there was no adjustment period. You know, you had been on online classes completely for about a year, and then all of a sudden you're back into shaky COVID protocols. You're worried about your health, you're worried about your safety. Just on top of the housing issues, we've had the bomb threats, we've had, you know, Howard and campus safety and security has not always been the best. And there's just so many things that began to diminish your experience. There's a lot of angst on campus, a lot of anger and confusion that this place, this Mecca, this what we considered and placed on such a high pedestal was choking you. It was choking the life out of students, literally.
I can imagine.
Not breathing their dorms.
I can imagine.
So when we said something about it and we weren't heard and we were ignored and students were being made sick, it was maddening. It became like a nightmare on 6th Street, a nightmare on Georgia Ave. It was terrible. But Howard, one of the beautiful things about Howard is they teach us who we are, who we come from. We walk in the yard and we walk through campus buildings, historic buildings on campus, the quad. We're walking in the steps of Kwame Ture. So Howard told us and taught us what exactly we had to do.
Exactly. And people tend to forget that because they look at the issue and not the history and the educational value that there is in Howard and its HBCU setting. So tell me a little bit more about what this experience did for you, what you gained from it, what you learned from it. I mean, you got Youth Activist of the Year from the NAACP, and we'll get to the pomp and circumstance in a moment. But what lessons did you learn? What did you learn about yourself through leading your classmates through this 31-day, marathon, not knowing how it was going to come out on the other end?
I definitely did not come out of this marathon the same person that I was before. As a leader, I learned what patience looked like. I learned how to educate. I learned what it meant to truly believe in and build community. I learned what love looked like as an action. And I learned that through the alumni, especially what it meant to love Howard. That wasn't just a feeling, that's not a sentiment, but that's understanding, love is an action that calls and builds movements. Love propels movements. I learned to be audacious. When Reverend Jesse Jackson came, it was I remember that day. I was exhausted, and it was funny because those were long nights and early mornings. Just from standing watch, we had to keep security in the building, to managing fires, to writing press releases. It was a lot. It was like a full-time job.
I'm sure.
So I remember it was early in the morning and I was asleep and somebody comes rushing, Channing, shaking me up. And I was like, I just went to sleep. It was early in the morning. I was like, I just went to sleep. Y'all can't handle this yourself.
Right.
And they're like, Channing, they asking for you. They saying it's Jesse Jackson. I said,
wow.
Am I drawing it off? Because, we were sleeping in the building.
Right.
I took my bonnet off. I said, hello. And, the Reverend just was like, I'll be there at 9 a.m. tomorrow. I said,
Wow.
9 a.m. Okay, yes, sir. Truth be told, 9 a.m. tomorrow, here comes Reverend Jesse Jackson walking in the door. And he said, stand your ground. You deserve first class housing. And I think that's something that Howard students don't hear a lot.
Right.
Because at HBCUs and often in our community, we find flowers and beauty in the struggle. We love the fact and we take pride in strength, which is a beautiful thing. But sometimes we have to ask ourselves, what value is there in being broken down? Sometimes there's no need for this struggle, and there's definitely no need to struggle for housing.
Absolutely. Talk to me a little bit about your trip to the NAACP Image Awards. I saw an amazing picture of you with the president, Derek Johnson. That must have been an amazing experience to be there with so many great leaders of the African American community, who all knew who you were and who all appreciated your sacrifice and your maturity to be 20 years old and to be so young and to be so committed to the cause. What was that experience like for you?
It was invigorating. It was exactly what I needed, I think, after being drained for so much. It was inspiring. It's like I could see what the end of the line looked like. Mm-hmm. I could, begin to visualize what civil rights and what activism looked like in a marathon, that I was only 20 years old, and I turned 21, so now
okay.
I'm 21. But I could see where I was going. I saw footprints in the snow, somebody I wanted to be, and I saw how to get there. It was just an amazing experience because everybody there just was so interested in not just pouring into me, but pouring into my fellow student activists and comrades and all of us who took a chance and took a stand and stands tall in what we believe in.
Absolutely. Well, I know it's early, but you're a junior already. Mm-hmm. And now you're already looking at that hill like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be a senior soon. And then after that, you do your grad, and you're like, oh my gosh, where'd those 4 years go? It's gone already. But have you had a chance to kind of sit back and think about where this experience might take you after your years at Howard University?
I haven't. I think our lawyer, Donald Temple, he says that the magnitude of this experience is not going to hit us until 30 years later. And he might be right.
Yeah.
But I do know that I want to go to law school. I do know that I'm interested in continuing activism and continuing to fight for our community. And I do know that I have to take the LSAT in a few weeks. So.
Well, good luck with that, because I've seen those books and they are not pretty. They are not pretty. Well, Channing Hill, congratulations to you on all your success. Congratulations for standing up for our beloved Howard University. We love her so. She ain't perfect, but she's ours.
She is ours.
And we love her. Mm-hmm. So congratulations to you and all your success. We wish you the best. We'll continue to follow your career pursuits, because we know that there are big things ahead for you. We'll be saying your name in news publications for many years to come, I'm certain.
Look, I don't know. I might be quiet. I might go to law school and become quiet.
Somehow I don't think so. Somehow I don't think so. Knowing your family, somehow I don't think so. And I know your family is extremely proud of you. Both your parents very successful. I know. Matter of fact, I saw a quote from your dad, who is also in the news industry as a writer for the Dallas Cowboys. I know that he said that it was awfully inspiring when your child can become your hero. So that must have felt good.
It did. My daddy is not. I got a strong Southern daddy. He's not the emotional type. He's not the praising type. But that's probably one of the biggest compliments he's gonna give.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know how much he adores you. So thank you so much again for your time, and congratulations again. Channing Hill from Howard University on the Atlanta Daily World. Channing, thanks so much. Continued success.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.